rides with coaches. You guys want to go get some coffee? So guess what we're talking about today? Sex!
Six.
S-E-X. Good.
I want to talk about sex and dating. Do you need to have sex with the person that you're dating to know if you're sexually compatible?
Let me give a disclaimer. I am probably going to say some things because I've learned. I did not do, for most of my dating life, what me and my wife did. And I would have wished I did what me and my wife did in the rest of my dating experiences. And if I had, I probably wouldn't have brought all the baggage I brought in. So that's my quick disclaimer.
I think for me, my husband has been the only person I've ever been with. So the idea of compatibility, I think compatibility really is a misnomer, that it really often leads to comparison, not real compatibility. In my work with families, I spoke with this wonderful psychiatrist who wrote a book called Hooked, and she shared that one of her clients some years ago came and shared that when he is having sex with his wife, he wishes the only person in his brain would be his wife. Other women, it's a hard thing for him to only think about her, and that's what he really wants to do. But he has a fight because all of the other women he's been with show up in his brain.
People can't look at social media without comparison.
Right.
So what makes you think you can then, all the sex you have and all these different relationships and not begin to compare? The compatibility thing is almost like trying to figure out if sex purely from this physical perspective, if we mesh.
Yeah.
As though sex has nothing to do with
Emotions.
Right. Emotions.
Care, concern, love.
All those things underlie it, play a role in it. I'm not having sex with all these people now, just my wife, right? Us becoming compatible had more than anything to do with our connection, our relationship, our emotional safety and vulnerability and emotional intimacy and all of those things. And I'll be honest, I didn't believe that before I got married.
What was your belief?
That the answer to this question was yes.
That you needed to have sex.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It just became part of the relationship because, we don't have sex before we get married. Then what if we're not compatible when we get married? Then the one time I don't, it's like, oh. And honestly, you spend, how long have I been married now? 19 years almost?
Mm-hmm.
Guess what happens during those times? You're learning each other.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I think that's the part that people want to know everything before they get started. You take the fun out the journey.
You feel like you have to have all the answers before you can make the decision. The fun part is figuring things out together.
Married people have more sex than unmarried people.
That surprises me, actually.
Well, we don't talk about it.
No, we don't.
If I tell my friends how good it is with my husband, then they might start trying to figure how, we didn't talk about it. So when you don't talk about something, there is an assumption that nothing is going on because you don't talk about it.
I genuinely did not know that. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Can you guys be in my Be Real? Perfect.
Here's the thing that I think people don't really realize. Sex, to me, is really just like the rest of the relationship. You're going to spend the rest of the relationship getting to know your partner. Right? You're going to be curious. You're going to find out things in year 5, in year 10, in year 20 that you didn't know in, the previous this year. If you are, then guess what? Sex is going to be the same way. People change.
Yep.
Things change.
Yep.
And so getting to know one another as we grow is what makes the sex fulfilling. I think if you're worried about that when you're dating, you're more likely to end up with a boring sex life because it's going to get boring after a while.
That's fair.
That's
No.
everything.
Too strong?
Yeah.
So often we're trying to figure out what the other person wants, what the other person likes, meeting their needs, that sometimes it's really important that you know and be comfortable in your skin and can be able to articulate what you are comfortable with, how far you're ready to go.
So what about people who are not planning on getting married, are just in a long-term relationship? What role should sex play in that?
A lot of the same things apply. You have to be comfortable in your own skin. You have to know what you like, what you don't like. You have to have those boundaries about, non-negotiables when it comes to that part of your relationship.
Is it a symbol of y'all's commitment? There are people that say it's just for fun. Normally there's one person in a relationship that says it's for fun. The other person is truly an emotional connection
Yes.
there. And so which sets yourself up. So like that's to me about the be honest part. If it's not just for pleasure and you say it is, then you're setting yourself up for heartbreak.
Yep. That's true.
You're dating somebody and you're not planning on getting married ever. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. You're not sure. But you know that you're going to want to have sex before you get married. Because let's be real, like not everybody is gonna not. So when would you say is an appropriate length of time to wait to do that?
I think it's really important that any couple that is going to have sex together have a conversation. And if you can't talk about it, you shouldn't be doing it. But a conversation about health, I think a couple should be tested, whether it is for STDs, STIs, so that you can come in. Because if you both have a sexual past, you need to be able to talk about that. Because if you care about somebody, you don't want to put them in a precarious position regarding their health. You need to talk about birth control. You need to have all of those types of conversations prior to engaging in a sexual relationship. That's just being responsible.
Responsible and I feel like it's protecting yourself
Yes.
and the other person.
Yes. Say you have been together for 3 months and you both make that decision to be together. Birth control. What are you going to do if birth control fails? You have to have all of those types of conversations.
It's that reminder Scott Stanley talks about sliding versus deciding.
Oh, yes.
And so many people just slide into
Yep.
it.
Yep.
The emotions get high.
Yes.
And next thing you know,
Yes.
as opposed to making a true decision.
Exactly. Yes, sex is emotional, but I really think it's important that you go in with your eyes wide open and not just make assumptions that your partner feels about this part of your relationship the same way you do.
Yeah.